Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Close Up. I'm your co-host, Joe.
I'm Ryan.
It's like a Batman cape. That's what it was.
I get it. Where's your mask?
It's upstairs. There's too much Batman stuff. That's all.
That's all. Yeah, good night.
Wait, you want more? All right.
that'd be a great Batman parody where he goes out and he's like, "Fuck, I forgot my mask in the Batcave." He's got the eye makeup.
Yeah, he's just got the eyeliner on.
Bruce Wayne, what are you doing?
Okay, from this extreme long shot, we zoom into our medium shot. We're fans of Batman. We're not going to pretend otherwise. But DC has a problem, which we feel needs to be acknowledged. And yes, we're well aware of the irony that we're making an episode on Batman saturation when our only other close-up episode on DC was about Batman.
Which is not our fault. DC hasn't released anything that's of note because they've delayed everything.
So you're stuck with Batman.
We are stuck with The Batman, which is a very good movie.
Oh, it's great. We're not here to say Batman content is of bad quality. There's just too much of it.
There's a lot of different Batman.
Some
which I would consider is the best that a lot of people don't even know that exist.
Adam West.
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy is the best, yes.
Oh, I'll tell you. I should tell you this now.
Yeah, tell me.
So I was like, "Who's your favorite Batman?" I was like, "Oh, Kevin." No, who's your favorite Joker? I was like, "Oh, Mark Hamill." And they were like, "Oh, that doesn't count. That's voice acting." And I went, "What? You disrespectful little bastard."
Voice acting is real acting. We're making that declaration on this show now. You can pull up this soundbite in the future.
Luke Skywalker can't be the Joker. Yes, he can.
No, he can't, because they're completely different franchises. Luke Skywalker's Luke Skywalker. He lives in Star Wars. And the Joker is the Joker. He lives in Gotham.
Smart ass.
Yeah. I should just wear a t-shirt that says smart ass.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
I don't know what I would wear, but I'd wear something like that too. We should both get a smart ass t-shirt.
Smarter ass.
Smarter ass. Is that grammatically correct?
No, but it's more of a smart ass thing to say.
That's true. We're off topic. Anyway, there's too many Batmans.
There's too much Batman everything. Too much Batman comics, too much Batman movies, too many Batman shows, too many Batman
reboots,
toys, merchandise,
coffee mugs.
Everything is Batman. There's too much.
Not enough Batman eye makeup.
No, that's just regular makeup. But but DC needs to start branding makeup.
I bet you Robert Pattinson it's labeled Bat makeup. Or if it's not in Robert Pattinson's, it definitely would have been in a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
Batmup.
So we've been saying how much Batman is saturated. We said it, a million times up to this point, but let's talk about why now. So, how do we think this happened in the first place? Well, I already mentioned his name earlier, but I blame Adam West for this problem.
Adam West.
Yes, I blame Adam West for this problem because Batmania was a period of time in the late 60s around the release of his hit TV show Batman, where the entire world was really hyped on this Batman show. Everybody loved it. They all had Batman merchandise. Batman had never been more popular than in the mid to late 60s during that TV show. Now, this was a time in the Silver Age of comics where Batman's popularity had been on the decline for a very long time, ever since that book, The Seduction of the Innocent, where the writer pretty much said Batman and Robin were gay. And it led to the Comics Code Authority, and it was a mess. Batman was not very popular at that time. Things were getting really goofy. He'd strayed very far from his roots.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
One of my favorite lines ever. Just thinking about it the other day. But lost my train of thought. But at this point in time in the Silver Age, Superman was DC's head guy. In the 50s and the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was Superman plastered on everything. But then Batman sort of took over. And after Adam West blew up, well, that changed everything. Because after Adam West blew up, then you had, well, actually, I think this is a direct cause of the show, is that the new generation of writers at DC thought it didn't represent the Batman stories very well. So then you have new creators like Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams, who when they took over the Batman comics in the 70s, they brought it back to its gritty roots. They pretty much reinvented the character for modern times, and that was a really celebrated run. And then you get Frank Miller's run in the 80s, where he reinvented Batman again, is extra dark and gritty. Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One. He did some
people
really,
like to call him Frank Miller.
Yeah. He did some really high-profile work on Batman that got attention outside of the comic book community, just in regular literary circles. And then you have Tim Burton's Batman movies, which kept the momentum going again. And then even when those tanked, we got Batman Begins a few years later. There's just been this constant stream of, and then there was, in the early 90s, there was the Nightfall storyline. Well, you broke Batman's back? How could you do that? That's newsworthy, like actual newsworthy, I think.
Yeah.
So there's just, ever since Adam West Batman, there's just been this constant stream of great Batman content that has people talking about Batman. And if you're DC, well, what do you do but capitalize on it? Problem is, they capitalized on it a little too hard. It went from, Batman's just this really popular character who we should, show a little more love to everything is Batman now. And like I said, Superman was overexposed from the 50s to the 70s. But the reason I think Superman didn't carry through was partially because of his movies. I think Superman's popularity started to wane about the time the Christopher Reeve movie started taking about the time the Christopher Reeve movie started taking a nosedive in the early 80s. Superman's popularity culturally never really recovered, while Batman's went on the upswing and never really went down. So that's where that baton got traded from one DC giant to the next. But once again, we're not here to say Batman content is bad. There is some bad stuff for sure, but there is a lot of consequences to this oversaturation, which we're going to get into now.
If you're Frank Miller, anything that's been adapted from your work is bad, which is what I love about Frank Miller. Any form of media that he's written, anything that's been adapted for the screen, he hates. There's not one piece of media he loves.
I think you're thinking of Alan Moore.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Never mind. Let's move on. I'm thinking Alan Moore. For some reason, I thought Frank Miller.
Frank Miller is actually pretty heavily involved in adaptations of his stuff.
Oh, God.
Or at least some of them.
Frank Miller, if you're watching, I apologize. And Alan Moore, go to therapy. What's wrong with you? Oh, jeez.
A big consequence of Batman's overset. Okay, I gotta jump back. In Alan Moore's defense, a lot of adaptations of his work have been terrible.
True.
They have not gotten the spirit very right. But, okay.
You didn't put a giant squid in Watchmen? It's terrible. That's not why it's bad.
Okay, so a consequence of Batman oversaturation, first and foremost, it prevents other characters from getting the spotlight. And I'm just going to run down a quick list of...
Sorry, I saw your second character and I instantly laughed, because I know you love this guy.
Oh, yeah. Just some examples of DC characters I think should get more love. Maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't. Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. The Question. Justice League Dark. Magical people like Constantine, Zatanna, Swamp Thing. The New Gods. Any of the Green Lantern Corps. Pick one, there's a bunch. Plastic Man. Justice Society. Or any of DC's endlessly compelling villains.
Like the Wheel. Oh, not Spider-Man. Whoops. I'm off today.
Morbius. Oh, whoops. That's also... Yeah.
The Green No.
The Condiment King.
I swear.
That's a Batman villain.
I swear we're DC fans.
And yes, some of the ones I mentioned are getting adaptations or have already. Blue Beetle, for example, is getting a movie.
Yeah. I think it's a movie or show starring Jolo something, who is from Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. I don't remember his name.
It's Zolo something. It's like Xolo.
Yeah.
Solo.
But I really liked him on Cobra Kai. I think he'll make a very good Blue Beetle. As soon as I saw he was cast, I'm like, no, I see that.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
Like I can see this guy playing a good Jaime.
It works. There's some characters where I don't get like super excited for it, but there's some that I'm just like, oh yeah, makes sense.
Blue Beetle is one of the most underrated characters at DC. Actually, Justin's favorite superhero of all time.
I only know him from like the Injustice game, and I don't think he's really portrayed that well in that.
First time I ever saw Blue Beetle was in a 2-parter on Batman: The Brave and the Bold.
What a fun series! Another Batman property. Oh my god!
Another Batman property. See, the Batman: The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold. I think that was actually the point of it.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 1970s, The Brave and the Bold was a team-up series where other lesser-known characters of the DC Pantheon teamed up with Batman because they knew Batman books would sell, and they teamed them up with Batman because it's Batman: The Brave and the Bold. You buy the book with Batman's name in the title and get to see new characters. And the Brave and the Bold TV show did much the same thing in the late 2000s. That's pretty...
Also, yeah.
That was my first exposure to...
There's a lot of cameos on that show as well, from what I remember.
Oh, yeah. That was my first exposure to Blue Beetle. I think probably one of my first exposures to Black Canary as well, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Bronze Tiger was another one I remember.
I didn't really watch the show growing up, but I remember seeing like some episodes, being like, this is funny.
It's a very good homage to the Silver Age.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the clip where he it's like probably maybe one of the only serious moments in that show, but where he like tracks down Joe Chill or something.
I don't remember that part specifically, but
yeah, there's a clip online. You can find it.
Yeah.
But who knows? Could have been taken down because of monetization, and YouTube is all great.
Maybe. So my point is, there's an entire world of DC characters out there. It's not just about Gotham. But you wouldn't be too far off to think DC was just about Gotham, because it seems like everything revolves around Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
at this point, who wants to live in Gotham? Why don't you move?
Nobody.
So much shit happens there.
I can name
maybe the rent's really cheap. That might be it.
It must be. Well, yeah, I mean, that tends to happen, right? Nobody wants to live in a place. Rents go down. You have to entice people to live there.
Maybe it's like Detroit. Sorry, people live in Detroit, but it's not a safe town.
Detroit's probably a little better than Gotham.
Oh, for sure.
Marginally.
Yeah, because they have RoboCop. I'm pretty sure it's RoboCop.
Yeah, RoboCop lives in Detroit.
Yeah, there's a line from, I think, from like the reboot movie where it's like, one day Detroit will be a free city or a good city, and everyone in the theater
still
was
waiting.
Like, I don't know about that. It'll be a safe town. Really? Whoever wrote that never went to Detroit. Go Red Wings.
They lived in Los Angeles.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Adapted for screen. Anyway.
So once again, it's not just about Gotham. And another thing I think is Batman oversaturation arguably prevents new consumers from getting into DC. Batman fans like us will watch the cartoons, read the books, watch the movies. But how do you get new fans into DC if you only cater to the Batman lovers?
Right. That's where I think this is where the most important message is. It's like, because people love the MCU and all their characters, but then you go into DC and more focus has been put on to Batman and his rogues gallery than arguably any of the heroes, especially now. So like in the past few years we've had 2 different Batmans, who one has maybe a planned trilogy or just at least a sequel, and one has already had a trilogy where Wonder Woman's only had 2 movies, Superman has like 2.5.
And to be clear, it's not even just Batman-specific things I'm talking about. I'm also talking like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, Harley Quinn adaptations. Gordon got a show on Gotham. Alfred Pennyworth got his own show. Titans. starring Dick Grayson, Batman and his world just take over everything.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's also because they start out as some of DC's best properties, but also they haven't put as much effort into other properties besides as to do with Batman.
Green Lantern hasn't gotten a movie since 2011, but Alfred has his own show. Come on.
Yeah.
Green Lantern is one of DC's A-listers, or at least he used to be. Like, they're not even giving any of the other Justice League members respect.
And I wish they did more with Green Lantern too, because like you said, there's different Green Lantern Corps. And if you look into all the different Green Lantern Corps, there's so much that could be done there. Just like, and it is like, yeah, it's like all colors of the rainbow, but they all like represent something different.
You don't need to adapt
even
Hal
the orange
Jordan.
one, yeah.
Yeah, adapt John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner. I'd love to see a Guy Gardner.
I'd love to see a John Stewart.
John Stewart's the Green Lantern I grew up with on the old Justice League Unlimited, which you probably did as well.
Yeah.
That was my first exposure to Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm. And everyone, and now like Hal Jordan keeps popping up, and you're like, I want John Stewart.
I've since become a Hal Jordan fan. Same way back on that old Justice League cartoon. For me, the Flash was Wally West. I never knew about Barry Allen. I never heard about Barry Allen until later.
Yeah, it was
probably not till the show came out.
It was really funny. I was like, I don't care for Hal Jordan, and then Nathan Fillion voiced him once in like a movie, and I was like, fine, I like him. Nathan Fillion and anything can make me like the character.
He has that effect on people, yes. And he would have been the perfect Hal Jordan live action a while ago. You know what? I think one thing I would have liked to see for a long time now, I think a good, ideal Green Lantern movie would be make Hal Jordan the old veteran Green Lantern and then bring in a new one. Probably John Stewart. Because John Stewart's, him and Hal Jordan are probably the most famous ones.
For sure.
Although I know Guy Gardner's got a huge fan base. I mean, so does Kyle Rayner. Or even, how Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz. Those are newer. I think
I'm not up to date on comics as you are, but yeah.
Oh yeah, they're great. They both have pretty compelling stories. I think Jessica Cruz in particular has one of the most compelling Green Lantern stories because her story is, I don't remember exactly, but she had some kind of trauma, massive anxiety, which forced her to, she couldn't even leave her home. She was so anxious a person.
Right.
And then she gets the Green Lantern ring, which is all about having the willpower to overcome great fear. So she kind of gets over her own traumas and anxieties by becoming Green Lantern.
Yeah.
She's really cool.
That's really cool. But yeah, it's just like any DC property that I can think of, it's like, oh, this one I really love. But it's all stems from like the Batman family tree. It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Even the upcoming game, which a lot of people are hyped out, is like Gotham Knights, which I haven't really looked into that much, but it's like, man, it'd be cool to play as Jason Todd, who's, I don't know why, one of my favorite not Batman characters. Like, I love the Red Hood, especially the movie Under the Red Hood. But again, it's a Batman property, and I think they need to put more focus into
anyone else. Let's even look at that other Batman game. Well, it's not a Batman game, but the Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League game. Look at the people in that. I think, I know Harley Quinn's the main one. Is Deadshot another one?
Deadshot's is in it, yes.
Okay, Harley Quinn and Deadshot, 2 Batman villains. Half the roster in that is Batman villains. I don't know whose villain King Shark is. I know Captain Boomerang's a Flash villain, but that's whatever. Point is, half the rogues gallery in the Suicide Squad game are Batman villains, stemming from Batman's lore. Which is like, okay, they're great characters in their own right, don't get me wrong, but it is still stemming from that Gotham world.
Yeah. It's from the Arkham series creators, too, so that's pretty cool.
Once again, Arkham, Batman, it all comes back to Batman.
And all milk that franchise. That should be my shirt, because I say that to you a lot.
Yes. See, once again,
Amanda Waller. I think Amanda Waller's a Batman.
Yep. Well,
oh, wait, no, this is just a No, this is just it's just Suicide Squad in general, not from the game. But like,
I mean,
yeah,
I think
even
Amanda
going
Waller
through,
talks to
even
Batman
going
more than
through,
any
yeah.
other Justice League character.
I think even going through the Suicide Squad, like whoever's been in the group, like Deathstroke, Killer Frost, maybe.
Killer Frost is no,
I don't know
Killer
much.
Frost is more of a Flash villain, I think.
Yeah, Killer Croc.
Yeah,
But yeah.
the Batman. Yeah.
But it's like, ooh, like who would you want to see more of? Like we said, Green Lantern. But I personally want to see more of Wonder Woman, because I think.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give like C-listers that I think are really
I
good
see
and don't get enough credit at all because Batman overshadows. I mean, everyone knows who Wonder Woman is. I think she's not getting no adaptation. She's getting movies. She's getting some stuff. I'd love to see a Wonder Woman video game, for example. Why can't we get something like that?
Oh, imagine like you're Wonder Woman, but in World War I, like you're playing through that. Oh god.
Yeah, sure.
Going through no man's land.
There's potential, like, or a Flash video game. I mean, how do you adapt these powers? I don't know. That's for them to figure out.
That'd be so tough. But like, do it.
Yeah, but my point is, there's so many great DC characters that why does Batman have to get all the video games and everything? Why can't Wonder Woman get a game? Why can't Flash get a game? Why can't Wonder Woman get a cartoon show like Batman the Animated Series or something like that?
It'd probably be one of the more popular games now if you made like a really good Superman game. Fly around Metropolis. You can have good like flying mechanics. Maybe that's what it is. Like it's so tough to make flying mechanics.
I have a great idea for a Superman game, which I'm not going to pitch on this show in case somebody steals it. But I will tell you later. I think I cracked the code on how to make a good Superman game.
Yeah. But like I think they can do that now because, not to compare franchises again, but the Marvel's Avengers game, you fly as Iron Man, you can fly as Thor, and they're both, like, the flying mechanics are pretty decent. So I'm sure, don't make Square Enix do it, but I'm pretty sure you can make like a Man of Steel game, or, you know, just any, even make what I loved about Injustice 2 was, even though we dog on bad Superman a lot,
Injustice is the best version of bad Superman in DC continuity.
Yeah. I really liked, what's her name? Supergirl. Her story arc in that,
too.
Where she was the symbol of hope in that universe instead of actual Superman. What the hell's her name?
That's another thing. I know people crap on the Arrowverse a lot, but that's one reason I've always loved the Arrowverse is because it's actually not Batman-centric at all. That woman didn't come into way later, or anything about Gotham City didn't come into way later. The Arrowverse focused on characters like Supergirl, The Flash, Green Arrow, The Atom, and just characters like that you never would see in the movies or just wouldn't be around as much. Like everybody on Legends of Tomorrow, last time I checked, it was like Citizen Steel, The Atom, Firestorm. I don't know who else.
Was it Shaq's version of Steel?
No. Is Citizen Steel? He turns into. Yeah, it's kind of like Colossus from the X-Men. He just has
Supergirl's name
body.
is Kara Zor-El. I just want to put Kara Zor-El. I just want to put that out there. I'm sure everyone knew that except me because I'm a casual DC fan. I don't read. That's why.
Yeah, John Constantine was on the team for a while too. They met the Justice Society. They fought aliens, the Time Bureau, Rip Hunter, guys like that, who's Booster Gold's father, I think. Just crazy stuff like that. The movies would never do things like that. That's why I'm happy to see other movies like Shazam or Black Adam come out, because they're delving into different corners of the DC universe.
And what's so funny with like the movies and like other pieces of media, like animated movies and the live action movie, even when it's all the characters together, it's still focused more on Batman in certain ways. It's always focused on him because they know he's the popular character. But, okay, now I will compare, but like, say the first Avengers movie, everyone had their own little moments in it. Some lesser than others, but they all were like there wasn't like one character who was the more obviously more important in that movie. You could argue Iron Man was, but I would say they were all more fleshed out better.
Yeah.
But again, in the live action Justice League, we had like 3 new characters or something like that introduced to us. Or
yes.
Yeah, something like that. But even in like the animated movies and stuff, it seems to be like always Batman who like saves the day at the end, which is very funny. Or Superman. It's usually those top 2 people.
And even Superman saving the day is usually just because Batman didn't have prep time.
Told him how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, he got outclassed. He did. Yeah. Which
I think like even in the spoilers for the Justice League Unlimited show, but when like Doomsday comes in, Batman tackles Doomsday and outruns his Omega Beam, and that gives like Superman, that gives like Superman's gets him hyped up to like fight Doomsday again. Where he's like, because he's getting his ass kicked, and he's like, he sees that, and he's like, oh well, like and Superman has this great speech where he's like,
living in a world of cardboard.
Yeah,
and,
that's the best. Yeah. I hope one day that gets adapted to live action.
He gets to really let loose for once, and fantastic.
And people who say Superman doesn't destroy buildings, watch the Justice League animated show. Watch that show, especially that fight. He like takes down blocks.
That should be another episode we discuss in the future. The DC animated universe, for my money, the best adaptation of DC ever, including the comics, because it's actually got a stable continuity. It adapts the best story. If you haven't seen the DC animated universe from the 90s, 2000s, check it out.
Yeah.
You do yourself a favor. Like I said, we'll probably do a whole episode about it another time.
I think the New 52 one's okay. It's different, and it's for a new generation, but it's pretty good. And what I really like about the DC animated features that they bring like all the voice actors back.
Yes.
Almost in everything. Like Tim Daly, Kevin Conroy, even in the game. I think like most of the people from the Justice League Unlimited series, most of those voice actors are in the Injustice game. Like the one for Wonder Woman, the Kevin Conroy, Tim Daly. I gotta look up Wonder Woman voice actress because I know of her. I just don't know her name. She's very good. Linda Carter? Is that who it is?
No.
Colby Smulders. Oh, that's the Lego movie. Voice actress. I'm just gonna do Injustice because it's easier that way. Susan Eisenberg.
I don't know that name.
Susan Eisenberg. Whatever. You go on. I'll figure it out.
Okay. Going on to another point, I think as much good Batman content as there is out there, people will eventually tire of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And because DC has so much Batman content, that by extension means people will tire of DC. So diversity is necessary for the brand to stay relevant. It's like the old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. DC is putting most of their eggs into the Batman basket.
Yeah. It is Susan Eisenberg, by the way. She voices some characters like in Mass Effect, Star Wars Force Unleashed, like smaller roles. She was in Avatar as well. The Last Airbender. Who was she in Avatar? I gotta look this up now because I love that show and we should talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like a one-off character, like one episode character. But yeah, she's one of those like voice actresses where it seems like at a certain time in Hollywood there was like 10 voice actresses and voice actors, and they always just like gathered these people to do like smaller roles or bigger roles. And then it got more and more popular.
So my point is DC is putting all their eggs into the Batman basket, and what if somebody pokes a hole in the bottom of that basket eventually? Not everyone is going to get as lucky as to find another Christopher Nolan. Like when in the late 90s when Batman and Robin came out, that might just have easily have spelled the end of Batman's
People thought that was the end, yeah.
Yeah, Batman's love affair with pop culture, just like Superman 3 and 4 did in the early 80s for Superman. Batman could have stopped there, but they found a visionary like Christopher Nolan to make Batman relevant again, which hasn't really worked for any other DC characters. Man of Steel, it could have worked for if they weren't trying to make it more like Batman.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Batman ruins everything. They even made Superman more like Batman, and that's why they said, "Oh well, Man of Steel didn't work because, well, I don't know what are people's because it's too
dark.
It's too you can't do a Superman like the classic ones because that's corny and that
it's already been done."
Like, well, why don't you try it, huh? Why don't you make Superman? Why don't you make a Superman movie the way Superman is supposed to be? Don't make him like Batman, and people will resonate with it.
And I feel like they try to do that, not to bring him up, but like Joss Whedon tried to do that in Justice League, but it was already too late. It was already too late to get like that like fun going Superman a little bit. And even in like Snyder, even in Snyder Cut, yeah.
Because
even
in
Snyder
version,
Cut, he's just like
natural.
Snyder Cut, he's just more pissed.
Which I think I understood what Zack Snyder was trying to do with it. I know he was trying to have an arc, and in Joss Whedon's version, he was just this happy-go-lucky person.
Doing what the studio told him.
Yeah, immediately after getting resurrected from the dead. It didn't feel natural.
Yeah.
In that movie. And I know Zack Snyder would have gotten there if he'd had the chance. I'm not saying #restore the Snyderverse, but I think he did have a plan for better or for worse.
I say it. I don't care if the plan... I don't care if the plan looks bad, but here's the thing that's pissed me off with DC. There's no consistency in terms of the TV shows and the movies, because like
that's fine.
And for other people it works. For me it doesn't, because like I don't understand how can there be two different Flashes? How can there be this screen? Like, what's the point of me watching these TV shows if they're not going to tie into the movies?
You know why it's fine with me though?
Why?
No, I don't, because I think that's Marvel has brainwashed everybody to think things should be interconnected. Superhero things in the 1940s didn't start with interconnected universe. They started, oh, this Superman character's cool, oh, this Batman character's cool, and then they crossed over eventually. It should just be about what's the best story possible. Why can't Joaquin Phoenix's Joker exist in his own world and just tell the best possible Joker story they could tell at the time? Where Ezra Miller's Flash is telling his best stories he can, and that should be able to exist alongside Grant Gustin's Flash doing what he does on TV. They shouldn't need to be interconnected to tell a good story. Robert Pattinson's Batman is just a good Batman. I don't need to see him connect with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman or Jason Momoa's Aquaman. They're just trying to tell the best stories for the characters they can tell. And interconnectedness is kind of a bonus at the end of it. Whereas Marvel makes their whole brand about interconnectedness, which there's a lot of drawbacks to that too. Mm-hmm. But I think at the end of the day, I prefer to have good quality standalone stories and the connectedness just be a bonus.
That's fair, but Joker for me is the exception, where I'm fine for it to be its own thing. Mostly because they said his name in the trailer, and Joker's technically not supposed to have a name. But it's whatever, it's anyone's adaptation, who cares? Nothing's set in stone. Yeah. But for me, the reason why I didn't really care about the CW shows is because they were just trying to build up the DC universe. Like, let's be honest, they were building up a DC universe to combat Marvel. That's what was happening around that time.
I don't think that's what was happening at the CW.
They say, well, not the CW, but that's what DC was trying to do with, like, the movies and stuff. And I don't know if...
Arrow came out before Man of Steel even started, and it was never meant to be the same universe.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's, like, if Warner Brothers owns the CW, or they just, like, if the CW just owns those certain types of properties or versions of it. Like, I don't know how all the licenses are working. So, it just feels incoherent for me.
Well, see, that's what happened, is back in the day, the Arrowverse got shot in the foot because Warner Brothers tried to make sure that there wasn't any crossover between the movies and the shows happening. For example, Arrow in Season 3, I think, tried to set up a plot with the Suicide Squad. They'd had Amanda Waller as a character for a while. They'd had some villains that they put away, the Belle Rev prison. They tried to set up a Suicide Squad thing. And then in about 2016, Warner Brothers made the Suicide Squad movie, and they made the TV version stop the Suicide Squad plot line altogether. And it just kind of ended super abruptly because they couldn't do that anymore. They also wanted to at one point, bring in Brandon Routh to play Ted Kord, Blue Beetle. Because they'd thrown in seeds for that. But then Warner Brothers movie department was like, nope, we want to use Blue Beetle. You're not allowed to use him on TV. So they're like, crap. So they just made Brandon Routh the Atom instead. So there was this interference so much on the TV side. Oh yeah, I think they didn't even let them use Superman for the longest time for the first few seasons of Supergirl.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and then they finally caved on that. They still refused to
And then there's a different
Batman.
Superman for Superman and Lois, and it's like I understand, and it's just like the comic books. You're right, where like they don't all have to connect.
I know, but it's also like you can read the comics, you can watch the movies, you can watch the cartoons. Why is it that you can watch Batman the Animated Series with Kevin Conroy, and that's still okay to watch alongside Robert Pattinson's Batman, but you can't watch Robert Pattinson's Batman and have a Batman on TV? Why is that disconnect there? You know? It's just two different versions. They can coexist. If one's better than the other, that's fine. I'm just countering that point because I felt strongly about that.
Yeah.
Whatever's good. I just think what if you don't want to watch something because it's bad, fine. But interconnectedness shouldn't be the benchmark for whether you're going to watch something.
That's fair.
Is my 2 cents.
That's fair to say. But
so yeah,
it was just kind of like that. That was my mindset when I was younger. But now seeing all this interconnected stuff now, and how some of the Marvel stuff isn't really working, in my opinion. Oh, Miss Marvel. I never got to mention that, but that's a topic for another day. Or probably when we'll probably like do an episode where we like once phase 4 is over, we'll rank all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like it was just a lot to take on, especially back then there wasn't really a thing called streaming, and you had to either buy like DVDs or
watch live.
Watch live? Insane. You had to stay up. But yeah.
Or wait for a season to be over, buy a Blu-ray box set.
But like back to our main point, it's like stuff of like even like the CW show. People like dog on that, but they don't have any like big screen like a lot of big screen adaptations. Like think about how the Flash movie keeps getting delayed, and that's because of outside reasons, because of Ezra Miller and what they have done.
Yep.
But also it's just like people want it so much. Like Flash is such a popular character. And like, why don't we have that? It's because of Batman, you know? It's not Batman or whatever, but...
You know what? Even going back to my thing about before about how the Batman effect, people think it kind of bled into Man of Steel and sort of messed up the tone of that movie in many ways. It also did the same thing for the CW. The Green Arrow of the CW verse is very much not like Green Arrow of the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Green Arrow, the show, is pretty much just it's got more in line with Batman than Green Arrow in many ways. Yeah. Besides the fact that he wears green and is an archer, and you know, they did the origin story okay. But Oliver Queen is not a brooding vigilante kind of guy. He's a lively social justice warrior who cracks jokes and, you know, has funny trick bows like boxing gloves and stuff. He's
which they've referenced in the show. Yeah,
I mean, they did. They sort of got there more over time. But when that show first started, you know, it was really cool for what it was. But it was it was more of a Batman than Green Arrow. It was like they wanted to make a Batman show, but like I said, Warner Brothers wouldn't let them have the rights to Batman. So they're like, crap. Green Arrow can be kind of like Batman in the right context, I guess. So, yeah,
we're gonna call it Arrowverse. Okay,
exactly. So it's kind of like in the Arrowverse, you know, in classic DC, the Trinity of DC is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. So they kind of had to do their own thing. They're like, well, we don't have a Batman, so let's have this brooding vigilante, Green Arrow. Okay, Supergirl, sure, that'll stand in for Superman. And I guess the Flash is the third of the Trinity. He's not really like Wonder Woman, but he's the third one. So that's the Trinity of the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
And eventually they got their own Justice League. The CW verse is the CW verse is built up very well. If you're going to watch the CW verse, maybe I want to do an episode on that too, because I've seen a lot of them. I need to talk about them somewhere at some point.
Yeah.
I have over a decade's worth of knowledge on those shows to talk about, good and bad. But yeah, they were kind of indebted to Batman as well from their very beginning, which, hey, Arrow's tone got it off the ground.
Mm-hmm. I've heard Superman and Lois show is actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, I've heard good things about that because they're actually adapting Superman.
But here's the thing, again,
not a Batman version.
Not to dog on TV shows, because I love TV shows. You're not going to get a lot of people watching TV shows because it's more of a commitment. And it takes up a lot of people's more time than just taking an afternoon off and going to see a movie. Where, let's face it, that's where all movies are being pointed to, is mostly Batman stuff. And like, again, in recent years, Suicide Squad, Justice League, different Batman movies.
Birds of Prey. Joker.
Again, like, Batman's not in Birds of Prey, but fucking, it's all Batman characters, if you think about it. Like,
Suicide Squad's too.
The only reason Harley Quinn is a character is because of the Batman animated series. And then someone adapted, like, a comic book story of it, and she became canon. Which I think is an amazing thing that a TV show did that. But, like, again, it's all Batman. And we want stuff that's not Batman. That's why a lot of people love the MCU, is because it's different characters gain a lot more equal amount of focus. And it's not like it's not like in a weird world where it's like Iron Man and then Pepper gets his own movie and then, Ironmonger gets his own movie or something like that. No, it's Thor, Captain America, Hulk. Hulk, whatever. A Black Widow movie.
That's a rights issue thing.
Yeah.
So another thing I have to mention is, speaking of Batman co-opting the tone, I really think this is a big point for me. Batman oversaturation is probably the main reason everyone thinks DC is dark when it's really not.
Yeah. For sure.
It pisses me off so much when people are like, oh, I don't like DC because it's dark. No, Batman's dark. Everything else just steals Batman's tone because Batman's the most popular.
Something in the way.
Yeah. I'm like, no. I'm like, DC, as a DC fan, DC is actually a more optimistic brand than Marvel. The entire
Superman from the comics is the most optimistic person I've ever seen in my life.
Exactly. The entire point of Marvel is that it's basically our world with superheroes in it. It's, more optimistic than something like The Boys, but it's pretty much our world with people who have real problems. Peter Parker can't pay his bills. He's got a balanced superheroing. It's, it's the villains are corporate businessmen and stuff like the Green Goblin. It's more based on real world politics. They live in New York City, for example, not actual countries, not made up places. DC is a lot more fictional. Its characters are more. I've always said the main difference is Marvel is basically reflecting a mirror to you. It's what would happen if I got superpowers, whereas DC is more aspirational. It's about who could I be if I was a better person. It's not just a reflection of me, it's giving me a goal, something I want to become. So in Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, it's all about Superman is a manifestation of hope and optimism. Wonder Woman is about truth. Green Lantern's about willpower. For example, they're all aspirational things. So in many ways, the DC pantheon of heroes is way more hopeful and optimistic than and they've also got, a lot of alien technologies in DC as well that intermingle into the regular world. The Justice League helps the world in many ways. There's a lot more philanthropy. People in general in that world are happier. Marvel's world never really seems to be much different than ours, even with all these super powerful beings, but the DC world actually does seem better outside of Gotham. So once again, it pisses me off when people say DC is dark because it's really not. Anyone who says DC's dark doesn't know what they're talking about.
It's just been like that in the recent years.
Yeah, just because Batman's the most popular. They see Batman and his tone bleeding into everything and people trying to emulate that in subpar adaptations of things, and they say DC's dark. No, it's not. It's just not a proper adaptation of what DC's really about.
You think Spider-Man would be a good like Uber Eats courier? I think he'd do a good job.
Well,
the only reason
what's the first 50? Actually, no, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. He'd be terrible. First 15 minutes of Spider-Man 2, when he couldn't even deliver a pizza.
Well, that's because he did it on his bike at first. But here's the thing: the reason why Spider-Man can't pay his rent, it's not because like he can't find a job. He lives in New York. It's like $5,000 for like a bachelor apartment. It's ridiculous. Well, that's for all the models and stuff. Anyway,
Superman lives in Metropolis, which is basically New York,
reporter's salary. There's even like a lighter moment in literally there's like I think in a DC animated movie. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it's called Batman and Superman Apocalypse.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I have seen it. Yeah.
But that one, like, it introduces, not for the first time, but it introduces Supergirl in it.
Oh yeah.
And there's like a joke where like they go back to it a few times. Is it this movie? I have to make sure it is this one. Where Superman, yeah, it is this one. Where Superman like gets into the Batcave and like Batman's like computer gets destroyed. Is like, don't worry, I'll pay for it. And Batman's like, a reporter's salary? Sure. And like even later on in the movie, he like hints at it, it's like, you still owe me for the computer. He's like, might take a while on a reporter's salary. Like there's fun, like there's good, like there's cheerful moments from like, you could argue from in recent years, two of the like most grim characters that DC has put out in the movies. But like Superman's not supposed to be grim. He's supposed to be that lighthearted like kind of guy. Even though the movie's called Apocalypse, but it's still like a fun movie and it's animated beautifully.
Well, see, Superman he's serious, but he's not, grim serious.
No. He takes stuff seriously. Like when he fights Darkseid, he's like, he goes full tilt.
Yeah. Which is why I think DC would be a better competitor to Marvel if they let Batman be Batman, fine. Mm-hmm. But that's why I like what they've been doing, because they've been letting everything speak for itself. The Aquaman movies had this kind of Indiana Jones adventuring kind of tone. The Shazam movies are kind of a coming of age story, John Hughes sort of tone. Birds of Prey and the Suicide Squad movies are just crazy. Then there's the Zack Snyder movies, which are more grimdark, serious. There's a lot. And then Joker, which is this weird kind of indie film about mental, which is a musical apparently.
I heard that was a rumor that they did that as a joke, but like if it's a musical, I think that'd be funny.
I'm down. I'd be
so down.
See, I think the DC movies are learning finally to get away from Batman's tone, and I hope they continue it, but everything else still needs to learn. They need to have less Batman comics, or less comics about the Bat family. Start promoting.
Even like, what's the most recent fucking thing that like, some of the best stories have been created? Court of Owls. It's surrounded by Batman and his like family. It's like, there has to be like, at least if you're not going to focus on the smaller characters, at least focus on Superman.
Okay, and that ties in nicely to my last point here. DC might argue, DC might argue that they sell so much Batman because Batman sells and other properties do not. I'd argue they aren't trying hard enough. Mm-hmm. For movies, give us Man of Steel 2, and see what happens if it's actually good. There is huge demand for Henry Cavill's return. Don't make it like don't do what they did in the first one and make it grimdark. Give us an actual Superman movie starring Henry Cavill, and you tell me they were disappointed Man of Steel didn't make $1 billion. I think in today's climate, we're kind of getting sick of cynicism after a decade of it in media and a couple terrible years with COVID and everything else that's gone on in the world. We needed a Superman, like an optimistic Superman movie now more than ever. And I think that would make $1 billion if it was done right.
Even bring back Amy Adams, I feel like, too, because I feel like their chemistry was really good.
Even bring back Jesse Eisenberg. Make him a little more...
No.
Like Les Luthor.
No.
I don't care. I don't care. No, it can be done. It can be done. I'm just saying, give us a good Man of Steel 2, and it might even outsell the Batman with Robert Pattinson.
I was going to say Brainiac, but that might be too big of a villain.
Do Brainiac. I don't care. I want to see Brainiac. Give me
I don't know why, like, the actor that popped in my head was like Bryan Cranston, but I don't know why.
Sure. I don't know who else would be a good villain for a Superman
But he's
movie.
got to be like a robotic, doesn't he? I don't know. I don't know much about Brainiac. Bring in Vision, the guy who played Vision.
Vision, sure.
Bring in that guy.
What about Mongol? That would be cool. Warworld and
Oh yeah,
something like that.
he's like a hairy dude, right? It's the Beast guy. Yeah.
Well, no, he's not hairy. He's like orange and
I have to look
shot.
it up. I don't know.
Kind of looks like
Mongol.
Yeah.
Not the Mongol Empire. God damn it.
Yeah, Mongol would be really cool. My point is just put just put as much love and care into other properties as you do with Batman, and people will find them.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody out there will find them. It doesn't need to be marketed as DC. It doesn't need to be marketed as a Batman spinoff. Just make good things of their own tone, and people will come.
Because there's great comics. There's Flashpoint. There's there's Green Lantern, Darkest Night series. Blackest Night. There's
Green Lantern's got so many great stories you could adapt.
Yeah, so many stories. There's even they can do it, but like even Superman Doomsday. Like if they did a proper live action Doomsday adaptation, which I really hate that he's the blood of Lex Luthor and Zod. I don't care. I hate it. But I want him to be like born from 1,000 dead babies. Yeah, that's in the comic, ladies and gentlemen. It's dark, but still Superman. But even like that's like a great Superman story, and even like as cheesy as the Return to Superman was, it'd still be great to see like all those different variations of Superman as well, just to like see how they would bring that to live action. It's not, and it's like, again, we don't hate Batman. We just want more from the universe.
We just want more of everything
all the Batman
else.
Properties.
There's enough Batman things out there. A little less Batman, a little more everything else. Oh, you know what they should do?
We are on the edge. It is if there's another adaptation of a live action Batman movie that's not Robert Pattinson, like if it's rebooted again, I feel like that's like, and it's going to be, but
it's too far.
It's going to be way too far, and we're just going to be like, well, what are we doing?
You know another thing that pisses me off about Batman movies and a lot of adaptations of Batman is that they refuse to evolve Batman. Is that we get so many Batman movies where he's this stoic loner early in his career. I'm sick of that. Give us Robin, give us the Bat family, give us another version of Batman we don't see, because we're getting so much Batman and it's all the same version of Batman. There's so much other kinds of Batman to adapt. Like there's later, even in the comics, which spoilers for Tom King's run a couple years ago, they did like 80 issues leading up about this romance between him and Selena Kyle leading up to the wedding. I read through all of them, and then they don't get married in the end because they have to have the status quo. Batman's got to be a single loner. He can't be married. Screw that. Why don't you let Batman's status quo evolve ever? I might not mind Batman adaptations so much if they didn't give us the same version every time. The Frank Miller gritty, nearly crazy version. Have us, and that's what I want.
Is that the one where he says, "I'm the goddamn Batman"? Is that the one where he's?
That's a Frank
different
Miller story.
Oh, it's a different one. Okay,
that's All-Star Batman.
Right. No one likes that one.
Are you dense? Are you retarded or something? I'm the goddamn Batman.
It's like, Jesus, calm down. But yeah, it's like, who do you think would be like a good Robin for the Matt Reeves universe? The first person that came to my mind was Taron Egerton, but he's a little bit older. He's only like 4 years younger than Robert Pattinson.
It depends on which Robin they're doing.
Well, I think you gotta go Dick Grayson first of all. My buddy, who's also an actor, wants to be a Robin in live action. Like especially Dick Grayson. So that'd be funny.
Yeah,
but I can't think of any like child actors right now.
I always say cast unknowns. Whenever I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, I always say cast unknowns.
I mean, who's that guy from The Room? Or the kid from The Room? He'd probably be good.
Jake something.
He was in, I don't know if you saw it, but Dr. Sleep.
I haven't seen that yet. I will. I want to.
He's in it for like a very short amount of time, but he's amazing. I think his name's Jacob Tremblay. Yep, that's him.
Yeah, okay. I knew it was Jacob something.
Jacob Tremblay. He's an amazing actor. How old is he? He's 15. My goodness. He was born in 2006.
That's a decent age for it.
Oh, God. Sorry, I just felt old. We're not that old, but I just felt it.
We're getting old, feels like. So yeah, I think a great Superman story they could adapt would be
Back
the
in
story.
my day, they made good Superman content.
Well, the best Superman content was before we were born.
That's true.
But I mean, in our day, we had the Justice League Unlimited and stuff. That's top tier Superman content.
Oh God! If anything happens to Tim Daly or Kevin Conroy, I will be so sad.
It'll be painful. But I think they should adapt the run from Rebirth in 2016 or so. That was one of the best Superman stories I've ever read.
You have to remind me which one Rebirth is again.
Well, it would take a bit to explain the whole context behind
This is
Rebirth,
the new,
but
like this. There was New 52 and then Rebirth, right?
yeah, Rebirth was
Okay.
2016.
I think they did like an animated version of it.
Yeah, so in the Rebirth Superman, he was married to Lois Lane. They lived on a farm in Smallville, I think, or some small farm, and they raised their 10-year-old son, Jonathan Kent, which, oh wait, never mind. They can't do that because that's basically the plot of Superman and Lois. Sorry. Never mind. They can't do that in the movies because Superman and Lois stole the Rebirth plot line, which is, like I said, the best. And that's why that show's doing well, because they gave us a Superman we never seen before, but still true to the character. I nearly was onto something and then realized it was already a thing. But
I remember this
we
is
can
kind
see
of
Henry Cavill too.
I remember seeing like a side note of, or like this is just kind of a side note, but I remember seeing the original Superman, and my dad just had it on the TV. This was like a few years ago, and just watching the original Superman. It's like younger Clark Kent is, spoilers, he's walking up the farm with like Papa Kent, and he just has like a heart attack and dies, and I'm just like,
yeah,
that's it. Like that's how he dies. And like Man of Steel, not comparing the two, but he literally goes to save a dog from a hurricane. He's like, no, I know you can save me, but don't do it. It's like super dramatic. But in the like in the 70s ones, which is fine, it's great. But I'm just like, he just keels over from walking.
No.
He's a farmer.
I will tell you why that's a better version of the story.
No, it's better, but like it's just like I was just really
Yeah.
taken aback by it. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? Is, in the other one, it's in Man of Steel, it's like, okay, he could have saved him, but he chose not to because, well, whatever reasons they said in the story, it would be outing himself and whatever.
But save the dog.
Yeah, but save the dog. But in the original one, he just dies of a heart attack. With all the powers of Superman, there's nothing he could have done to prevent that. That's a better life lesson. There's some things you just can't fix.
Unless it was 11 from Stranger Things and she just goes, no. I'm kidding, Duffer Brothers.
But you're not really.
She's still in a coma. So she like saved her but didn't save her. You know what I mean?
Not going to spoil Stranger Things for people listening to a Batman
Oh,
podcast,
they're
but-
catched up. I just said she's in a coma. I didn't say
Exactly.
who.
I know. I'm just warning you before you go further.
Could be a Demogorgon. I don't know. I was going to say a certain character, but I didn't want to.
Yeah. Okay, let's close up. In closing, move on from Batman.
Do it. We love Batman, but we love these other properties. Give them the respect they deserve. It doesn't even have to be Superman or Wonder Woman, but at least release the Flash for the love of God. Because we all know, I think they came out with a statement where Warner Bros. Said pronouns. Ezra Miller, they're in it too much, sometimes twice, because there's different versions of the Flash that we've seen from trailers, that they can't go back and reshoot it. So I think what Warner Bros. Is trying to do is just wait until Ezra Miller news is gone past or whatever, that they just release it.
And then they'll hire Grant Gustin like everybody wants.
Who's Grant Gustin?
The Flash on TV.
Oh, right. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Everybody wants to see them reshoot the Flash movie with him instead of Ezra Miller.
Also, but I wonder how much money they put into it that they can't go back and reshoot it. But who knows?
They've been making this movie for 10 years.
Ooh, okay.
This movie was supposed to come out in 2018.
Yikes. But yeah, even a Green Lantern movie, I would love to see that. And like we did get one, but like get one that someone who's actually like read a Green Lantern comic book.
Yeah.
I've seen a funny video where I think it was like a Jimmy Kimmel interview where Michael Keaton says like, because he was at the same time filming The Flash and like Spider-Man, or around the same time or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, sometimes I'm on set and I have no idea what universe I'm in. They have to like tell him, they have to remind me. He's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. And it's not that he doesn't care, it's just like he's just a forgetful person. It's really funny how he tries to explain it.
He's also filming the Batgirl movie too.
Oh goodness. Poor Michael Keaton.
See what I mean? Okay,
Batgirl movie.
See,
there's more Batman stuff.
Yeah, they're bringing Batman into the Flash movie as Ben Affleck and there's 2 Batmans in the Flash movie.
Let it go.
Son of a bitch.
So much Batman stuff. And I was
Gotta
gonna
stop.
say, like,
Gotta stop
hey,
before I go on for another hour.
Like, what's your favorite DC characters? My top 5. They're all Batman related.
My top 5 DC characters: Adam West, Kevin Conroy, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and Superman.
Oh man. There's a great. I think like. Oh, there's a great. I think I showed, or you showed it to me, or I showed it to you. There's like a Trivial Pursuit card, and it reads, which one of these characters aren't Batman? And it goes to, it's like Michael Keaton, or hasn't played Batman. Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, Adam West, and Ben Affleck. And this was made in like 2009.
I think you must have showed me that then.
Yeah, and people were like, I'm so mad at this question. Like, whoever gave me this question. I thought that was really funny. But it's like, we just came to realization that the Flash movie, there's 2 Batman in it. Let's let them have their own properties. Like, imagine, because in The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man shows up at the end, and people like thought that was cool, but also it's like give them their own thing.
Yeah.
You know? But, I don't know. Like, we love DC, we love Batman, but just, like, let them have their own thing. Like, the Wonder Woman movies are very good. I haven't seen
actually you know what? Okay, the Wonder Woman movie starts off with a Wayne Enterprises truck, doesn't it?
Oh no, does it?
Doesn't it? If she mentions him specifically, she says he was helping her out on this project.
I just realized Gal Gadot was introduced in
Batman v
Superman.
Which they put his name in the front.
Oh, in the second Superman movie. Oh man.
If we keep going, we'll find more. Oh yeah, he was also in the post-credit scene of the Suicide Squad movie.
Was he really?
Yep, we're talking to Amanda Waller. The first one.
Oh, I was like the new one. I was like, oh my god.
No, not the new one. The first one.
Was he in Peacemaker?
No.
Is Peacemaker a Batman character?
I don't think so. No, actually, Peacemaker was introduced. Peacemaker was an indie comic. A different company. DC bought it later.
Doesn't Peacemaker say "fuck Batman" in that too, or something like that? Does he go on a whole rant that he's like has daddy issues or something?
Oh, he insults every Justice League character. Peacemaker is a must-watch.
I need to watch it. I know.
Yeah, watch Peacemaker.
I've seen clips. I was like, man, I don't hate John Cena, but it's like sometimes I watch some of the stuff he does and it's a little cheesy, but then I see clips of Peacemaker, I'm like, he's so funny.
This is the best performance he's ever given that I've ever seen him in, anyway. All right, we can go on forever, but let's wrap it up. Plug our socials.
Green Lantern featuring Batman. Well, you can find me, Ryan Walker, official, at Instagram and on TikTok.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at ThoughtPlane Media and our Facebook page at the same name. Find further film discussion and entertainment reviews on thoughtplane.ca/articles. And if you'd be so kind, you can support ThoughtPlane Media on Patreon, link down below. Also, be sure to leave us comments and reviews, as that's a big help. And how about clicking that like button if you enjoyed this? We hope to see you on the next close-up with Ryan and Joe. Till next time.
I'm Batman. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. So nice you say it twice. Bye!
Some days you just can't get rid of Batman.
Milk that franchise.